Good morning. Good morning. Hello. How was everyone's weekend? I got to hang out with a friend and it made me very happy. It really lifted my spirits because I don't know where everyone is at on the coronavirus, but pretty much since lockdown, since March, I haven't really interacted with anyone um, other than my roommates, right? And they're getting on my nerves. They're good roommates, but they're just getting on my nerves when you see them every day, right? But I haven't seen my friends. I'll go to the grocery store and all of that, but like laid off in June and can't find a job. So, I really underestimated how, on the Myers Briggs test, I'm an ENFP, by the way, but an E not by much. I'm pretty much split between an extrovert and an introvert. I'm an ambivert, but I'm a little more extroverted, so that's why they give me the E. But I'm not like my friend that I saw this weekend. She is really extroverted, and so she is really struggling with this. But for me, I am, I can be by myself and refuel myself, and too much social interaction is a little overwhelming to me at times. But not having it at all, like I took for granted the social interaction that I had with my coworkers, just like a pat on the arm or a pat on the back, right? And even like hanging out with my friend this weekend, we didn't hug, we did like air hugs. And like it was great to see her, but it's like, I want to hug people. I miss hugging people. Um, so, but then I see like some of my other friends having parties of like 10 people, um, friends back home in California. I think they're a little more strict, but in Oklahoma, they don't seem that strict. So I guess it's just different depending on where you live, but I pretty much isolated myself. And this was the first friend that we, made a plan to hang out. And it felt so good, y'all. We had brunch on the porch. It was a nice day, luckily. So we had king taco on the porch, 6 feet away, masks, all of that, and it felt nice. It felt nice. So I hope your weekend was good. On Friday, I had a little meltdown. That's okay. I'm human. I'm glad I got to share that with you. But I was frustrated at myself that I brought up my mom because I don't want to, um, you know, uh, just get on here and complain about my mom because, one, I want to keep things private with the people in my personal life, try to like respect their privacy, right? But also, she was a good mom, and so I'm gonna like talk her up a little bit today and tell you why she's an amazing woman. Uh, but I do want to sort of go through um, my process if this helps anyone who is dealing with mother issues. I think it's especially hard when you do have a good relationship with your mom and when your mom is a good mom and you have these inner child issues because it's like you almost feel guilty feeling these feelings because like you did have a good parent, right? And so um, it's like you should be grateful. But um, yeah, I just want to walk through what I'm going through with this Mars in my fourth house and thinking back on childhood memories, thinking about my relationship with my mom. Um, but I'll try not to, um, I don't want to like drag her, or um, make it seem like she was a bad mom because she wasn't a bad mom. She is actually my strongest support person of support, right? Um, and sometimes that support is disappointing, but it's much better than a lot of my other friends and family. It's just, I don't have much support to begin with, right? But you will struggle with that as a creative person. You'll be surprised at like the people you're closest to, just the lack of support in them, even if you have like hyped up their stuff. But you just keep going because you know that your voice is meant to be shared with the world and that someone will resonate with it. And every time like I share something with friends, they always like laugh at my scripts, like in a good way, right? They think it's funny and they like the story, but it's like getting to a place where like my work is hyped, where like people want to work on my projects instead of me always working on their projects. That is a struggle, but I will do it. I will work on it. But yeah, I have been a little antsy talking about my mom for the privacy reasons, and I don't want to paint her in a bad light. At the same time, I think she loves me talking about her. She's a very confident woman, and like when I had a podcast, it's down at the bottom. If you go to my homepage, you can scroll down, and it's Big Kids Podcast. There are only about 6 episodes, and they're an hour long. That was another instance of me putting in energy to someone else's project, and they bailed on me. But that's okay. Still my bud. But whenever she listened to the podcast, she was like, "Why do you talk more about your dad and not about me?" So I'm talking about you now, Mom. But yeah, she is a big, bold woman. She has like Mae West energy, like makes her presence known, right? So the thing I was dealing with on Friday was being overshadowed by that, being like wallflowered from that, right? But she doesn't have to dim my shine, and I'll get to that. But just to go through what I have been dealing with in my own personal journey is when we're dealing with these inner child wounds, the first thing is to recognize that your parents did the best they can with what they had. And like I said, I had good parents, and they really did do their best, and I'm proud of them for their growth and how they raised me and all of that. But your inner child is always going to have a wound. And it's not about blaming your parents. It's not about being a victim of your childhood, your circumstances. What it is about is looking at those memories and looking at them as an adult. And they're, our memories in your childhood, we all have them. Memories in your childhood where you were hurt, where you were wounded, and you internalized that pain, and a part of yourself died, basically. A part of yourself got hidden, right? And your parents could have intentionally done that or unintentionally did that. They could have, there are so many things in this world that are sort of have this neutral energy, and they can go in the positive direction or the negative direction, right? And so and they can have both too, right? A lot of positive things came out of those moments, but negative ones too. So what we are looking at is what we have hidden away from the world because we were hurt as a child. So you can go back to your memory and sort of split yourself into seeing yourself as a child in that memory, and then hugging them as an adult, right? Reparenting them as an adult, speaking sweet words to them as an adult. One small little thing that, again, is not like a horrible parent thing to do was I have long hair, right? I had long hair a lot in childhood. It was like down to my butt. I would like tuck into my pants, right? And I like having long hair. It's very Sagittarius energy because it looks like horsetail, right? Sagittarius is the horse, so this is my horsetail, my horse mane. It's wild. It's like straight and wild. Hi there. But one of my memories was my mom used to get frustrated brushing my hair because it would get tangled, and so she would be like rough with it, and like it would hurt my head, you know. And we eventually figured out that you can brush it from the bottom down and then go up, and that kind of helped. But she would always say like I was tender-headed, and that it always it was just always a struggle to brush my hair, right? But then I remember this one memory with a friend of the family, Janine. She was I had a childhood friend, and she was the mom of the childhood friend. And so I was over at their house one day, and I remember her using some specific like leave-in conditioner on my hair, and like being very gentle with my hair, and it didn't hurt. And I was like, why is like my mom's so stressed about that when Janine can like brush my hair and be sweet about it? And it was like so nurturing and so sweet of her. Like it was like a really bonding moment with her, where she was like really loving and tender and nurturing. So one of the things that I have been doing in adulthood is remembering that time with Janine and sort of brushing my own hair as if I were my older self brushing my younger self's hair, right? Like, you're so pretty, your hair's so pretty. So it's not like a chore that it was for my mom, or like this frustrating, like, get these rats out of your hair. Why are you like hurting so much from this, like brushing your hair? But that's such a small thing, right? My mom was not, it's not like she like ripped my hair out or, you know, made me feel like my hair was ugly or anything. It was just like I was craving that like nurturance that I got from Janine, and like I felt like a burden. Like my long hair was a burden to my mom, right? And that's not her fault. People are people, right? But I'm just saying, in adulthood, we can correct those moments where we felt like a burden, or like we felt that we didn't get our needs met, right? Like we can meet our needs now. So that's one of the things I have been contemplating lately, going through, experiencing. But also, I feel like I am working through ancestral karma, untying ancestral ties, especially with the women in my family, because when we talk about the IC and the fourth house, those are matriarchal things, they're maternal things, so they're passed down through your mom, through your grandma, great grandma, all of that. And I come from a long line of strong women, and I'm very proud of that. And we are warrior goddesses, and we kick ass, and I am very proud of that. So there's positive in that, right? But the shadow aspect of that is being sort of domineering, steamrolling, having this attitude like, I don't need no man, but then like crying because you're lonely behind the scenes, right? And so like putting on this show that like, I don't need anyone, I can do it all by myself, but then being overwhelmed at the end of the day when all of these tasks are piling up and you're trying to be superwoman, and you want that love and affection, but you're telling the world that you want something else, right? And I think sometimes a lack of compromise. But like my mom and my grandma and um, cousin, aunt, all of that, they were breaking their own ancestral ties too. So it's like I am proud of the women in my family for, you know, not submitting to men as easily as a lot of their counterparts do. Um, but something I'm working on is softening myself and, you know, still not taking crap, but not being so like abrasive and um, pop off as easily. I struggle with that. Not afraid to say how I feel. And that has its good and its bad, right? You know, sometimes in an effort to be strong, you can push people away. Um, and another ancestral tie I think I'm working through is the women in my family are sex positive, but I think it can go a little too far and there can be an unseriousness about it. And so, you know, my journey is to bring back sort of the sacredness of sexuality and loving partnerships just without the sexual shame that is pretty common in the world and women. So, you know, there's light and dark to all of us, but that's just what I am working through. And as an only child, that has its light and shadow too. As my parents get older, as they take on health problems, as they you know, age and get up there, it's becoming increasingly part of my awareness that I don't have siblings to take care of them. I don't have, you know, I'm like the only one that's going to be responsible for taking care of them, for putting them into a nursing home when the time comes, for, you know, all of those things you have to take care of. And I, you know, they took care of me, so it's only fair that I take care of them. But like, it is kind of a heavy burden to carry all of that on your shoulders because, you know, to some degree, I had to wait to have babies because there was a push to get settled in my career. So, like, there's like just no distribution of responsibilities that other families have to deal with because they have siblings, right? It's like I have to be the smart one, the rich one, the one to have babies, the one to take care of them. Like I can't spread it out among my siblings, right? I can't say like I'm gonna go off and pursue my dreams, and then you can take care of them. Like you'll be the one to take care of them. It just all falls on my shoulders, and that's a lot of that's a lot to take on. And I, to some degree, I felt like I had to take care of them as a child. Whenever they were fighting, I felt like I had to be the balance. Whenever they, you know, they always like said I was a wise soul and all of that, and sometimes made decisions based on my like sage wisdom. And you know, my dad had substance abuse problems, so I had to sort of be like alert as a kid, in case um, he wasn't all there, you know. So as I got older, you know, I feel free now to just do things for me and not have to um, take care of my parents. But at the same time, I do have to take care of my parents. There are things that are going on back home. And so it's kind of like right when I got started like living my life for me, there's still always going to be an element of responsibility. And not only the stress of responsibilities, but also my mom and dad, especially my mom, goes unchecked a lot. She is like a surrogate mother to other children, right? Like my friends love my mom. My cousin loves my mom. My we have a friend of the family that she's like adopted, but he's a grown man and she adopted him. And that has frustrated me because I was lonely as a kid, and that wasn't my brother. And he never got grounded by her. He never, like, dealt with the consequences of her flipping out on him. And so, and I never had him around as a kid to stand up for me whenever, you know, she was wrong. It was always like me versus my mom. And so, if I had a sibling, then they could say, yeah, you do that too, right? And it was kind of like that. It was helpful whenever she was with my stepdad because he could be that check. But whenever he passed away, it's like my cousin is never going to take my side. They're always going to take my mom's side. And like the adopted son is like not going to be responsible for nursing homes or you know, hospital things. So you know, sometimes it felt like she was like a better mom to others than me. And like I said, she's a good mom, so I don't want to paint her as a bad mother. It's just like they never got to see the shadow side. They never got to agree with the shadow side. They never got to experience the shadow side. They never got to defend me whenever the shadow side came out. And so it's like I feel like I get kind of gaslighted in those situations, right? Anyway, so the last thing that I'm going through is baby fever, which kind of happens off and on. And what happened with baby fever, it was crazy because whenever I was in Oklahoma, my feelings on babies were if I have one, great. If I don't, great, right? Like I'm happy either way. And I'm kind of back to that feeling right now at the moment, but it could change. But it's crazy because right when I moved to California, I I've said this before, but I picked up this guy in New Mexico and we shared a ride, and I fell in love, I guess, like for what my capacity, right? My capacity of falling in love. And the reason why I think is because I like looked at him on the drive and it was like, I must have your baby. And it was like this wave of baby fever. Like, I have to have your child. I need a baby now. And I never had that experience before. crazy spiritual thing. I actually think I took on a like spirit guide that was with him, that was like carrying he was carrying around with him. I know that's a crazy thing, but I think the like child, it was like a child spirit, and I think I like wanted a baby so bad because like she came over to me, like she started being my guide. I know that's a crazy experience to like for like non-spiritual people to wrap their head around, but I don't know how to describe it anyway. Um, and you know, after that experience, even after we broke up, I would see um, like babies in strollers around my neighborhood and just cry, like bawl, like burst into tears. Um, because I just felt it like in my ovaries. Like, I need a baby. I need to be a mother. Um, so that was just wild because I'd never experienced that before. It was around whenever I was 30. Um, and I think it was because on a subconscious level, I kind of knew in Oklahoma that like I was never going to settle down there. And so it just wasn't even in my like energetic field to want a baby. I mean, like I said, I would have been grateful if it happened accidentally, but I was pretty responsible and careful about that stuff. So the likelihood of it happening accidentally was not was very rare, you know. But on some level, I knew like that wasn't my time to settle down. But like once I moved out here, it was like, okay, now you're here where you're supposed to be. Let's have a baby. But I kind of lost baby fever because of Trump. I hate to bring up his name, but my like lady boner just went boop. In your 30s for women, it's your sexual peak. So like this might be TMI, I'm sorry, but I was like super horny in like late 20s and early 30s. But then whenever Trump took presidency, I just like lost a lot of attraction for men. I wish I could go gay sometimes. I think women are beautiful and I think they're amazing, but I just can't like it's not there for me. So I didn't go gay, but I like still straight, but like just that ability to have a crush on men, to like I don't know, put up with like bullshit, is has gone down significantly. Maybe I will get it back up. I think I'm getting it back up, honestly. Like this past year, my sex drive has boosted a little bit. But because the sex drive went down, the baby fever went away. And so, who knows? I'm 36 now. And, you know, this last year, like I said, it has picked up a little bit. I haven't felt the baby fever again, but I know that, like, sexually, I am getting back to a healthy state as far as that goes. But you know, part of the baby fever, even if I don't have baby fever, there's still something inside of me, like spiritually, that wants to start my own family, right? Start that own immediate family because it's like I can take the best of my parents and perfect that, and then the worst of my parents and course correct that. And I will probably wound my child too. That's what the parent relationship is. I will probably do my best and in some way wound my child, and they will have to work on their inner child whenever they grow up. And it doesn't mean that I will be a bad mom. It's just how these things work. And it's supposed to work like that because that's part of our growth. So, but I want that on my own. I feel like I have reached like a plateau of like my immediate family, and I have just found myself getting super annoyed with my parents, even as much as I love them, and I get frustrated at myself for this because they are great parents, and like I'm annoyed that I'm so annoyed because I love them so much, but like I feel like it's just me wanting to create something for myself, like move on to that next phase. And also, I don't have family out here. My friends are great, but the older you get, like the more they have their own lives, right? And so I want a support system that is close to me, that is, I can support them, they can support me, right? Families stick together, all of that. I just want something in place here, with a partner, with eventually with children, so that I can wound. But anyway, now let's get on to my mom. That was a long intro, but if you are dealing with mother issues, then maybe that will help you. That's just been my process, and maybe some of you guys can relate. But my mom, I am grateful that she is strong and independent. She just does things that she wants to do. She doesn't ask anyone, and she can take on a lot. She works really hard. She is very positive, and she's very new agey, and she was one of the first, like ahead of her time as far as positive thinking goes, as far as law of attraction goes, as far as manifestation goes. She really believes that you can create your own reality, and she is proof that you can. And she's very like determined and pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And she doesn't let a lot of setbacks hold her back. She just pushes through and turns it around. She's very bold, sassy, very much like personality, right? Big personality. And I talked about competition and how it is. On Friday, I talked about competition, how it has been a little annoying, but it's also like I am grateful to her for for that competitiveness, because my field is pretty competitive, and even though it can be frustrating, had I not had that experience, then I don't think I would have as thick a skin. I don't think I would have as much determination. I don't think I would have the confidence in myself. Like I said, my support system is kind of small. When you are a creative person, you have to deal with that, but you just, like I said, she pushes through. She doesn't care what anyone thinks. She doesn't care if people think she's crazy. She just like goes after what she wants. And if I hadn't had that, then I would probably give up real quick, right? So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that she just taught me like that it's okay to compete, and that it's okay to go after what you want. She's very artistic, very creative. Love that about her. Glad that I got that from my mom's side of the family. A lot of my family members on that side are creative. My stepdad is a singer-songwriter. My grandma was a set designer. My cousin, she does makeup. She painted. She does a lot of artsy stuff. My aunt is an art teacher. my uncle, my mom used to say that he was a great dancer and he could like mimic dance moves to the T, right? Like he could just see like an episode of Soul Train and just like do the dance. His son is an actor. But yeah, they're all creative, and I'm really blessed that they passed that along. My grandpa, other grandpa, is well, he's a craftsman, so he makes like wooden clocks and stuff. But he, I think he also was into acting or stage work or something like that too. But yeah, I am grateful for that. That's kind of hard to come by in a conservative state, to be that expressive, and very grateful. She is also very smart and witty, super sharp. She's a Gemini, very chatty, very like conversational. She really thinks outside the box, and she wants to hear your thoughts, right? And she really bounces off of that those chatty energies, and like she can think of like ideas like that. She is very smart like that, and she passed it down to me. So thank you. She she is a writer, like I said on Friday, and she writes this fictional column called Delilah's Dilemmas. It is about a five-time widower who has a series of misadventures. Very cute. She has self-published books about it. She is also part of a group. I froze. I don't know what happened. She's part of a group that my granddad started, Tuesday Night Music Club, because he's a singer-songwriter, right? And she wrote a song called the Big Butt Blues. Yeah. And she's a great singer. And like I said, she's also sex positive, body positive. So I was lucky that I didn't have the self-image problems that a lot of women have. I like my curvy body. I thought my mom was beautiful growing up, and she didn't really. Like, there was a time when she was overweight, and she went on this super aggressive weight loss thing, but it wasn't. It wasn't. I I can't ever remember her like bemoaning how she looked. And so I like that. I think her goal for that was to fit into clothes because she liked to, dress to the nines and look fabulous. And so I think that was her motivation. But it wasn't like, I'm so fat and ugly, So I'm grateful for that. And grateful that I don't have the sexual hangups a lot of women have, because she was sex positive too. There wasn't shame in that. There wasn't guilt in that. So very lucky to have that. I also want to say that my also don't want to bring up my twin flame in every video, but I have to say it. My twin flame has a lot of placements that my mom has, but just arranged in different ways. And our aspects, like our synastry, is very similar to me and my mom's synastry. And I think, like, growing up, now I realize I kind of look for her in partners. Usually it's your dad, and to some degree, like, I have found my dad in partners. But like learning that I also look for my mom in partners has been really interesting, like to give me that sort of nurturance. I have Gemini on the descendant. She was a Gemini, sun and moon, like I said. And I have Gemini and Cancer in my 7th house of partnerships, and then, Cancer and Leo in my 8th house of sexuality. So a lot of my partners have been Leos, but running their charts, I've noticed that they've had placements in Cancer a lot because whenever you're a sign, a lot of your personal planets can overlap the sign before and after. So, like my twin flame, for instance, Cancer, Sun, and Moon, but had Gemini in Venus on my descendant, and then had a close relationship between my Moon and Virgo, which was more like my dad's end. Dad has more Virgo energy. So it was like a perfect combination of my mom and my dad. I think that's what I'm looking for. But I like appreciate Cancer energy a lot more now because of that nurturance, right? Because of that hair brushing, that soft hair brushing that like Janine gave me as a kid. But yeah, dated a lot of Leos with Cancer placements, but now realize like what was going on. Anyway, I hope that I have helped someone in their mother issues. I love her so much, and I like wanted to come on here today to just say like I'm not trying to hate on my mom. She is really an awesome lady. But whenever we are dealing with these inner child issues, like we do have to get to the core of things, and not to blame them for anything, not to resent them for anything, but to know what our work is, right? Know what we have to do. So now I just brush my hair differently. I love you guys very much. I will see you tomorrow.